Good afternoon to all. Now I will start the introduction part under Unit 4. And end of this lecture, student will able to learn about the shearing mechanism, various press working operations, presses for sheet metal working and press tools, die and punch, differentiate type of die, blanking and piercing operation. Shearing operation. What are the type of shearing operation? Die cutting, slitting, nibbling, steel rules. That are the shearing operations. Die cutting. Now here we are seeing that it is a combination of following operation. One is perforating. Perforating means that will produce a pattern type formation. Parting or shearing as a sheet into two. Sometimes parting or shearing operation, it will convert it into two sheets. Notching, removing pieces in edges means that notching and removing operation removes the edge portion, and also lancing or leaving a tab with a removing any material. So that are the operations are involved in case of die cutting operations. Slitting. Slitting operation means here we using circular blades. In that particular slitting operation, we have used the circular type blades. That is the upper knife and that is the lower knife, and that is the workpiece. And by the rotation of that particular upper knife, we cut that particular sheets. And these blades follow straight line or circular paths of curve path, developing upon requirement. So as per our requirement, we follow the straight line or circular path or curve path we have followed for during cutting operations. Nibbling operations. So here we nibbler tool moves straight up and moves up and down, and using that nibbler tool we cut the any metal. Sheet metal is fit gap between two cutting tools, means that is the two cutting tools. Okay, that is the two cutting tools, and sheet metal we fit in gap between two cutting tools and produced overlapping holes. Suitable small runs, several intricate shapes can be produced using nibbler tool. Piercing operation. In case of piercing operation, that is also shearing operation, and creates open hole in sheet metal by separating interior sections. Here if we are taking, that is the thin sheet, and by using punch, applying force on that punch, we get that type of cut part, means punch part, that is the punch part. Here in case of piercing operation, that punch part is the scrap, and that is the final part. That is the final part. That is the final part in case of piercing operation. Now blanking operation, that is also shearing operation. It enlarges the earlier pierce hold. Means here what happens in case of blanking operation, it enlarges the earlier pierce hole. Means remove metal is desirable. Means in that cases, that is the final part. That is the final part in case of blanking operation. That is the final part, and that is the scrap. That is the scrap, and that is the final part. That is the final part in case of blanking operations. Sometimes very smooth and square edges can be obtained by fine blanking operation. By the fine blanking operation, we have got the very smooth and square edges in that blanking operation also. Now we are coming for the solution of the some problem in case of piercing and blanking operation. the force required to punch a 25 millimeter hole in MS mesh plate, means mild steel plate, 10 millimeter thick, when ultimate shear stress the plate is near about 500 megapascal will be nearly. So many options are there. Now we calculate what will be the force required. We know shear stress equals to force by area. So in that cases we have seen that shear stress is given 500 megapascal, okay, and the force required to punch the 25 millimeter hole. Hole size is the 25 millimeter and thickness of that particular sheet, that is the 10 millimeter. So what will be the force required? Using that formula we find out the force required. Force required tau into tau. Tau means shear stress, pi dt. Pi, here d means diameter of that punch hole, t means thickness of the plate. So using that formula we have got the force required. 500 means megapascal, means that is the shear stress, pi into d, d means 25 millimeter hole, and 10 means material thickness. Using that formula and by that calculation we have got the force required. Now another problem, a phi means diameter of that particular hole. A 25 millimeter hole is pierced in a T means thickness 2.5 millimeter thick sheet, a thick steel sheet having shear strength tau 350 megapascal. If the diametral clearance is given by the expression C equals to 0.0064 T root over tau, the die diameter in millimeter and punch diameter in millimeter and punch force in kilonewton. So respectively what will be the value of that particular value of the that is the punch diameter, punch force, and that things are required in case of what is the punch diameter, die diameter, and what will be the punch force. Now we will find out using that solvation. Here hole size is given 25 millimeter, sheet metal thickness also given 2.5 millimeter, and shear strain also given 350 megapascal, and also one expression, mathematical expression is given in that particular problem, that is the 0.0064 T into root over tau. So tau means that is the shear strength. Now we put the shear strength and also put the thickness of the means material thickness we put, then we will get C equals to 0.299 millimeter. And now in case of piercing operation we know punch is made exact, clearance will be provided to the die. In case of punching operation the punch is made exact and clearance will be provided to the die. So on that basis here size of the punch will be 25 millimeter, okay, and size of the die punch size plus clearance means here 25 in plus 0.299, and that is the size of the die. And what will be the punching force? Punching force equals to shear strength into area. Shear strength already given, that is the 350 megapascal, and area pi dt, d also given, that is the 25 hole size, and T 2.5 millimeter also given, and by that calculation we have got 68.75 kilonewton punching force. Here also other problem, a cell of 100 millimeter diameter and 100 millimeter height, the corner radius of that cell, that is a 0.4 millimeter, is to be produced by curve drawing the required blank diameter. What will be the required blank diameter? Now if we are taken, that is the blank diameter, okay, and that blank diameter D will be we using the punch we produce that cup shape. We produce that cup shape. Okay, so if the produced cup shape diameter small d equals to 100 millimeter and height equals to 100 millimeter. So that size means that area pi d square, area of that blank. If we are consider that blank is as a circular, the area of that particular blank diameter, that is the pi d square plus area of that particular produced cup, pi d square plus area, means that is the cylindrical area. So using that formula, finally we have got that formula, the blank diameter capital D equals to root over d square small d square, means diameter of that particular produced cup, d square plus 4dh, and here d is given, that is the 100 millimeter square plus 4dh, 4d means 100 millimeter and also h means 100 millimeter, and using the calculation, then finally we have got 2 to 3.6 millimeter. Die types. Open type, different die types are provided during cutting operation. Open type, compound type, progressive type and transfer type. So die and presses for sheet metal processes. Components of die types: simple, single operation in a single stroke. Okay, in case of simple die. Compound die, two operation with a single stroke, means two operation has been takes place with a single stroke, that is the compound die. Combination die, two operations and two stations. Using combination die we perform the two operation at two stations. Progressive die, in case of progressive die, two or more operation at two or more station with each press stroke creates what is called strip development. In case of progressive die, two or more operation has been takes place at two or more stations. In case of transfer die, a mechanical transport system transfer the part from station to station, means one station the operation has been done, then it will be transferred to other stations. That two or more operation has been done more than two stations also. That is the open type die. That is the open type die. That is the compound die. That is the one example of the picture of the compound die. Another, that is the progressive die. That figure shows the progressive die, and that is the transfer type die, means one operation has been done, then it will be transferred to other stations. Die and presses for sheet metal presses, means presses means definition, in sheet metal working with a machine tool with bait power ram that can be driven toward and away from the frame to perform various cutting and forming operations. Means presses means in sheet metal working, it is the machine with a bait power ram that can be driven toward and away from the frame to perform various forming and cutting operations using the different presses. Die and presses is sheet metal processes. Solid, one piece constructed up to 1000 tons. Another, adjustable bed accommodates different sizes. By using adjustable bed we are doing that things. Another, open back, tilted for easy removal of stampings. Press brake, wide bed for use of various dies. Press brake used for various die. Turret, suited for sequence of punching and notching operation. Turret type die we have used for sequence of punching and notching operations. Straight sided frame, high tonnage presses that near about 4000 ton, greater structural ability. Another, power system, hydraulic driven by a position cylindrical system. Another, mechanical eccentric crankshaft knuckle joint that can be used for die and press for sheet metal pressing operations. That is the crank press. That picture shows the crank press, and that is the some schematic diagram of that particular crank press. That is the picture shows the crank press. That press shows the friction press. That picture shows the friction press. That is shows the hydraulic press. That is the effort force pump. That is the valve, means control the flow of the liquid. That is the oil supply tank. Release valve, piston or ram, and that is the compressed bell. That is the compressed bell, and that is the piston. Due to by the compressed bell, it will pressure on the liquid and it will upward. And end of this lecture, students have learned about that role of sheet components, shearing mechanism, various press working operation, presses for sheet metal working, and press tools, die and punch, different types of die, blanking and punching operations.